Hi friends, welcome to the NPTEL course Business Development from Start to Scale. We are in week 1 considering the theme of business fundamentals. In this lecture, the fifth in the series, we will consider several business development cases. I have developed a template which probably could serve as a standardized construct for understanding how companies conduct their business development over years. There are 6 fundamental factors that drive business development: the product or the service that a company offers, the customers it caters to, the pricing in terms of its affordability or premiumization nature, the means of promotion and the extent of promotion that is adopted, the nature of the ownership of the organization, and the marketplace in which it wants to compete. However, these 6 factors by themselves are not enough. These have to be supported by certain core strategies of the company, such as the business strategy, the marketing strategy, the financial strategy, and the operations strategy. When all these 6 factors are deployed in an optimum balance, a company would be able to develop its business successfully. Each of the components will, of course, vary depending upon the nature of the industry and the nature of the company. Let's first consider Nirma. The 1970s were truly the era of Nirma. It was founded in 1969 by Karsanbhai Patel. Nirma represents the story of an indigenous product that succeeded against the product of an established MNC, and that has been made possible through a mix of entrepreneurial passion and astute business strategy deployed by the founder. The product was an indigenous detergent powder. The customers basically included the bottom of the pyramid customers at the start, but soon extended to the middle of the pyramid and top of the pyramid customers as well. That is because the nature of the detergent powder was something which appealed to the housemaids, who were the persons who were actually cleaning the dishes in the Indian households of that time. Pricing was highly affordable. Promotion was very focused and very aggressive, and it was also evocative in an emotional sense. The girl child was the anchor and the icon for Nirma's advertisement campaign. Organization was in terms of an Indian startup with all the entrepreneurial passion. The marketplace were the retail stores established all through the India by the informal sector. Nirma captured the mindshare of the customers through its affordable product and strong promotion. Next, we have Reliance Jio in a completely different space. When Reliance Industries set out on its Jio telecom mission in 2007, it moved into the market with a completely integrated strategy. And the strategy had many facets, but product, technology, infrastructure, people, service, and marketing were the significant drivers. Jio's marketing was strategic because it aimed at fulfilling the vision of dominating the Indian telecom space. It was a service company, continues to be a service company. Its main services are 4G technology, data and VoLTE, fiber to home service, offering home broadband, television, and telephone services. It set out to be a pan India telecommunication company. The pricing was very strategic to capture the market share. From 0 to 33%, the market share grew for Reliance Jio because of the strategic data plans that the company offered. Promotion was equally intense and in omni-channel formats. The organization was young, vibrant, aggressive, and energetic. The Jio stores offered the place where customers could interact with the company. Again, duly supported by strong business strategy, very aggressive marketing strategy, almost limitless financial strategy and capital investment strategy, and operations that focused on fastest possible delivery of services across India. Reliance Jio illustrates that business development is driven by business strategy, which is in turn driven by the vision and mission of the company. The various elements of Jio marketing make for a complete strategic plan. Zydus Wellness was established in 1994 by Cadila Healthcare Group. It operated in the nutritional products field. The business was built by the sugar substitutes marketed under the sugar-free Gold and Natura brands. The customers were initially diabetic patients and the middle of the pyramid patients who were looking at calorie reduction. Over the period of its existence and evolution, the customers moved up as well as down. Pricing was import competitive. Promotion was essentially through advertising, with celebrity chefs leading the advertisements in several cases. The package itself served as an effective advertisement because it also provided recipes and attractive product literature. Public Limited, Zydus promoted company, it had deep pockets to go through the initial startup phase. The products were offered in pharmaceutical chemist shops as well as in general retail stores. Over the years, Zydus Wellness strategically positioned itself as a wellness FMCG company with a strong initial focus on diabetics and calorie conscious people. Vinny Cosmetics, established in 2010, is a deodorant company that achieved market dominance through multiple initiatives. Today, it commands three times the market share that the closest MNC rival, once a market leader, currently has. It offers the Fog brand of deodorants. The customer base is spread all across the Indian demographics. Pricing is market competitive. Promotion is at times over the top through visual media and is reputed to be three times over rivals. It is an Indian startup which covered the entire nation. It had its own sharp business strategy and more tactical marketing plans. It had requisite finance and operational strength to carry out its rollout plan. When the flagship product range becomes the most dominant revenue earner for the company, in this case as much as 75%, it not only represents a dominant status but also makes it vulnerable to competition. That's how we see other deodorants coming up with similar approaches. How does a company market itself, particularly when the projects are related to big infrastructure projects funded by the governments and large public and private sector corporations, including global funding agencies? L&T Construction represents success of a company in this domain. It is a service company offering construction services. The customers are governments, public sector, and private sector. L&T Construction is reputed to be a very high quality construction agency. However, it wins its tenders because of its competitive price. Promotion is essentially through its iconic projects. Division of Indian Public Limited conglomerate L&T Construction has always had the deep pockets to establish infrastructure. L&T's rapid growth and leading position since its establishment in 1946 is a reflection of the organization. It deployed technology and execution for business development through project delivery. Any civil engineering project is people driven, and the people intensity and the skill requirement have been managed exceptionally well by L&T over these last several decades of its operation. The Happiest Minds was established in 2011 by the serial entrepreneur Ashok Sudha. This happened after L&T acquired his company and passion called Mindtree. Although the Happiest Minds is in the same category or a similar category as Mindtree, the company won clients and grew rapidly. Big US technology companies came to the support of the Happiest Minds company as it set out on its growth journey. Pricing was similar to other mid-tier companies, but the better delivery offered by the company provided the competitive advantage. Promotion was essentially in terms of cross-selling and upselling products and services. Organization started as an Indian IT startup but soon came into public limited status. North America was the focus marketplace. The Happiest Minds is an interesting example of core relationships sustaining across time and corporate formats. And the network of Ashok Sudha has been behind the success of the Happiest Minds. Paytm has been a pioneer for little over a decade, from 2010, in the field of digital payments in India. Notwithstanding the great push from demonetization, Paytm has been a success story in its own right of dedicated business development strategy. It was a company which was ahead of its time as far as the Indian fintech market is concerned. Its products included wallet payments and digital financial marketplace. Customers were all across the Indian demographic pyramid. Pricing expected to be lower than the fully accounted costing because the company continues to make significant losses even after several years of its operation. Promotion has been intense and through several channels. The Paytm board, which is so popular across the retail network, itself served as the advertisement. It is an Indian unicorn, having started up as a small entrepreneurial firm. It is now also a listed company. Paytm is a leading case in India's fintech startup story and has several interesting verticals. Not all verticals have succeeded in the same manner as the core vertical of financial bridging. Adani Green has been an early mover in the renewable energy industry in India. It was established in 2015 and it is the largest producer of green energy in India. The going is challenging given the bargaining strength and financial weakness of discoms. It is, of course, instructive to note that although Adani Green got listed in 2015, Adani Green has been incubated by the parent company Adani Enterprises for several years earlier. That's how it has been an early mover in the renewable energy industry. The customers included the discoms and the government agencies across the nation. Pricing generally is set by the governments and tenders, although contractual relationships require that there should be appropriate diligence on the cost and pricing levels of any power utility. It is part of the Adani conglomerate, therefore has deep pockets to operate in this challenging field. It's also a listed company. India is the total marketplace for Adani Green. With the government of India going the whole hog to promote renewables and Reliance Industries deciding to move aggressively into green energy, Adani will have both tailwinds and headwinds as its push for industry leadership accelerates. Again, this is an operation which requires strong business strategy, a robust marketing strategy, a deep pocket financial strategy, and an execution oriented operations strategy. SBI Yono was established in 2017. It was established by the State Bank of India, which is the leading public sector bank in India. It has become a great value creator for the company. Although a division of SBI, it could provide significant valuation if at all the bank decides to spin it off at some stage in future. It's a super app for banking, investments, and e-commerce. The entire SBI's vast customer base is offered for Yono. In addition, Yono is flexible to accept customers from other banks. Pricing is opaque because it is still run as a division of SBI. SBI strongly co-promotes Yono in its channels as well as in its retail branches. As a division of SBI, it has the strengths to attempt something bigger as the years go by. The place, of course, is the universal Indian marketplace for financial requirements. Despite the image of a sober public enterprise, SBI has been very innovative and entrepreneurial in conceptualizing and launching Yono. It has positioned Yono differently and also differentially. A digitally skilled youthful organization and an equally youthful communication and branding have positioned Yono in the millennials' minds. Hyundai has been the only foreign car manufacturer, apart from Suzuki, that enjoyed sustainable rapid growth with scale and competitiveness in India. Hyundai India was established in 1996 in Chennai. It was relatively unknown. However, the company grew its brand based on its product and marketing strategies. The initial products were in the passenger car segment, and the company expanded its coverage to utility vehicles after a few years of success in the passenger car industry. Customers initially were middle of pyramid automobile customers, but today the range is so vast that it caters to the top of the pyramid as well as the bottom of the pyramid automobile customers. The pricing has been set in a manner that is competitive to Maruti Suzuki, the industry leader as well as the market leader. Promotion was very intense with celebrities promoting the product, particularly Shah Rukh Khan. It is a wholly owned subsidiary of Hyundai South Korea. Post liberalization, Hyundai India was probably the first company to have set foot as a 100% owned subsidiary without looking at a joint venture to support the local operations. The place is through its channels. The interactions are essentially through the retail channels between the company and the customers. Marketing of automobiles, of course, has been perfected by several automotive majors over decades globally. However, optimizing the marketing strategy and business development strategy for India has been done very well by Maruti Suzuki first and now by Hyundai Motor India. Although several companies such as Nissan, Renault, Shoda, and others entered the Indian market, no company has been as successful as Hyundai India. This is because of the integrated and balanced network of research and development, manufacturing, and channels that has been set up by Hyundai India. The business development strategy was again a close follower of the business strategy in respect of Hyundai India. We now cover a new segment. ID Fresh Food was a company which came into being to serve the Indian middle class, the working class. Over the years, the Indian families became very busy with work, yet the Indian families retained their taste for tradition. To meet this gap, ID developed a new category from its inception in 2005 in terms of ready to cook batter and other food items. It is an all natural, preservative free batter, initially for idli and dosa, which were the popular breakfast items in the Indian household. Customers were middle of the pyramid customers, but it has moved to the top of the pyramid and a little lower than the middle of the pyramid demographic base. Pricing has always been premium because it requires cold chain all through to be able to successfully deliver itself to the consumer. Point of sale advertisement has been main driver for its popularity. It is an Indian startup, private limited company. The place is the retail channels. Category marketing is an important component of business development. Product technology, however, is crucial for the category to be established and grown. Product driven strategic marketing has led many a startup firm to scale up. The manufacture of batter with the native taste, but in a preservative free environment, was a product challenge as well as a product accomplishment that IT achieved, hence its strategic success. The Indian pharmaceutical industry is one of the most competed with hundreds of manufacturers. In such an industry, Mankind, established in 1995, became a large pharma company, in fact, amongst the top ranking companies in India. The capability to achieve that position was essentially due to the multiple therapy focus it adopted from the very beginning and an unrelenting focus on the domestic market rather than the pursuit of US market as many other companies tried to do. Another company which did very successfully is Eris Life Sciences. Multiple products in multiple therapies, customers covering BOP, MOP, and TOP demographics, low cost pricing strategy, celebrity corporate brand building. In fact, Amitabh Bachchan aggressively promoted the Mankind corporate brand. Even in COVID times, Mankind came up with several advertisements which connected it to the hard and daring work done by the Indian healthcare workers, paramedics, and so on. It is an Indian startup still, it is private limited company. It has put its mark on the entire distribution chain and controls in a strong manner the distribution and retail fundamentals in the pharmaceutical industry. Many people consider pharmaceutical marketing as a tactical effort rather than as a strategic effort. However, Mankind has demonstrated that with a strong business strategy and a singular focus to achieve the mission of becoming a top ranking firm, the entire business development can take on a broad spectrum role and propel the company towards its mission. Nazara Technologies is a platform company. It is very strong on digital services, digital product space to some extent, and also gaming as an entry point in the learning area. It was founded in 1999, got listed recently, and it focuses on products and services related to games and learning. Kids, families, schools, and institutions are the major customers for Nazara. Being a novel company, it set its own benchmark in terms of pricing. Word of the mouth and internet promotion has been very helpful for Nazara Technologies to achieve its status. Again, it's an Indian startup listed recently. The place of marketing is the entire global marketplace, which requires digital platform products of this nature. Technology driven business development requires the company to focus on advanced technology platforms as it moves into the future. The Indian chemical industry is recognized for its chemistry and chemical engineering skills. Sudarshan Chemicals entered this field in 1952. Today, when everyone talks about China plus one strategy and therefore the role for the specialty chemical industry, Sudarshan Chemical obviously comes up as a company which had the vision for today's situation. Hopefully, with the market opening up, in addition to China's dominance, there would be global heights that can be conquered by Sudarshan Chemicals. Specialty chemicals, dyes, and pigments are the key products of Sudarshan Chemicals. It caters to the demand from global chemical and pharmaceutical firms. Pricing is higher than China but lower than others. Promotion is essentially through B2B communication channels. It is a public limited company listed on the stock exchanges and it has a universal marketplace. Marketing of chemicals falls into the B2B category. Aligning with the strategic plans and the strategic sourcing plans of the customers is vital for a B2 company to achieve sustainable success. And this would be the path the Indian chemical companies should take to achieve the global scale that they are capable of achieving. Kaliswari Refinery is an edible oil company. Edible oils constitute a kitchen essential item. Very early on, Tomco, Bombay Oil Mills, and such other companies have been in the oil refining area. But no company has looked at scale in edible oil manufacture as Kalishwari has done. In that manner, Kalishwari has come up as a pioneering company. It is to the credit of the humble founders of Kaliswari Refinery that starting with just an edible oil shop in 1973, the refinery grew into an integrated manufacturing and marketing business. Edible oils with focus on sunflower oil represents the key product. Homemakers, hotels, and restaurants are the customers. Pricing is a bit premium compared to other competing edible oils. Strong TV communication and very innovative and evocative TV advertisements have been the banner ads for Kalishwari. It is an Indian private limited company still, and it operates strongly in the states of Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, and Kerala, and has set its entry into Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Orissa, and Maharashtra. Kalishwari's masterstroke was its promotion of sunflower oil as a heart healthy cooking oil. The promoters were not content with just staying on with sunflower oil. They moved into various other edible oils, including a very unique temple lamp oil or a home lamp oil called Deepam, which is a mix of five vegetable oils, each of which has got significance in the Indian religious parlance. In addition, they have olive oil, coconut oil, and various other FMCG products such as dals. The business development of sunflower oil has set a scorching pace, which the other product lines are struggling to keep pace with. So, the business development strategy has to be customized to the products that a company chooses over time. No one formula fits every product, and the existence of strong brand power does not necessarily translate into the brand power for other products. Kalishwari currently is engaged in developing business strategies and business development approaches that are customized to multiple product lines and therefore enhance the scale and scope of Kalishwari Refinery in a significant manner. Pharmaceuticals is a therapeutically diversified business. Glenmark was founded in 1977. It didn't follow the route taken by other pharmaceutical companies. It has decided to focus on dermatology. At that point of time, it was an ignored subject for the established pharmaceutical companies. Upon consolidation in the dermatological field, the company expanded into multi therapeutic operations, and today it is a very well diversified company with a global spread as well. The patients, hospitals, and clinics are the customers for any pharmaceutical company. However, being a dermatological product which had its specialized doctors to be catered to, and this focus has helped Glenmark to drive its field force to singular success based on the limited number of doctors and extensive promotion it adopted. Pricing was competitive. Doctor focused medical detailing was the cheap flank of promotion. In any case, medical companies, pharmaceutical companies cannot solicit prescriptions, cannot advertise their products. Indian Public Limited Company, it was successful in its public offer. Today, its marketplace covers the entire world. Glenmark gained because of the singular starting focus in dermatology, and because it didn't spread its resources too thin, it has been able to achieve the necessary financial muscle to subsequently expand into diverse areas. So, start with the core, venture into the emerging areas, and then bet on the future. That is the way companies must do their business development. Apollo Hospitals is a name which needs no introduction at all. Starting with a clinic in Chennai, Dr. Pratap Reddy broke new ground by setting up the first corporate hospital in Chennai by name Apollo Hospitals. It was established in 1983, and he developed the hospitals into a reputed pan India hospital chain. Apollo Hospitals was the first corporate hospital which brought multi specialty healthcare with comprehensive diagnostic and pharmacy services under its fold. The customers, of course, were the patients, caretakers, and the families, as well as institutions which required patient services. The pricing was premium, although certain beds were allotted to the common citizens. Word of mouth advertisement and flexis, as well as banner ads, promoted Apollo Hospital's image substantially. It is an Indian public limited company. It operates all through the India through owned as well as franchised hospitals. Apollo Hospitals created its core and brand by bringing to India the Western model of healthcare practice with top class doctors, paramedics, diagnostics, and pharmacists. The faith in the Apollo Hospitals treatment is so high that people from far off regions come all the way to Chennai, although those regions also have reputed hospitals in over the years. It became one of the most reputed brands consequently in India. GRT Jewelers. Starting with a small jewelry shop in Chennai in 1964, an entrepreneur by name G. Rajendran broke new ground from the 1970s. He set up large format jewelry shops in Chennai and other cities and made GRT Jewelers a household name and a brand. GRT further diversified into hotels business. Gold, silver, diamonds, and platinum. Jewelries and accessories, as appropriate in these precious metals, are the ones that constitute the entire product range of GRT. Customers were individuals and families across segments, and they continue to be. Pricing is competitive. Promotion has been through a variety of means. Aggressive advertisement connected GRT to the Indian families. However, the exchange schemes it offered, the savings scheme it offered also created strong goodwill in the customer minds for GRT. The savings oriented and the investment oriented Indian population on one hand, the weddings and special occasion oriented Indian population on the other became the twin drivers of GRT Jewelers' growth. The marketplace was in terms of select metros and tier 1 cities. GRT demonstrated a seamless transition from small format stores to large format stores. It also demonstrated how taking care of the special needs of the customers for saving as well as investment could position a company in a differential manner. In addition to that, more attractive designs, more modern designs, and a range of manufacturing options provided the flexibility which the customers wanted from a large format jewelry store. Hatsun started in 1970 as a milk supply unit. It grew rapidly into a highly diversified dairy products company. The coverage extends to lakhs of dairy farmers. It has been successful in leveraging technology and transparency in a big way across the entire value chain of dairy farming, milk collection, milk processing, and milk delivery. The company ensured that technology and transparency drove its unique positioning. Households and businesses were happy to take up Hatsun, although at that point of time, that is, at the time of its inception, milk supply was considered to be a governmental monopoly. For a private company to breach that ceiling and come into active market was a challenge, which Hatsun achieved singularly well. Pricing was competitive compared to the governmental supply. Promotion was comprehensive. Both ATL and BTL advertising worked very well for Hatsun, Indian Public Limited Company, and the place was essentially in terms of South India. Hatsun created its core business and brand by adopting scientific and responsible process. And the Indian agro and farming community was the key base on which Hatsun's business enterprise is now situated. Gross Engineering Products is a medium scale engineering enterprise which is based in Delhi with a plant in Chennai. It started initially in 1976 as a manufacturer and supplier of bicycle parts. The company evolved as a major manufacturer of diversified hand tools, and it supplies its hand tools globally. The company grew with a balance of organic and inorganic growth. Gross was set up when India was not particularly known for manufacturing quality, that is in the 1970s. So it is to the credit of the promoter as well as the company that it could satisfy the global requirements for quality hand tools. One of the important dictums the promoter of the company, Anil Bammi, gave to his sales force was that for every sales call they do globally, they must come with a new product idea. Normally, companies try to discourage product proliferation. However, Gross flipped this proposition and made itself interested in continuous product growth. And how did it achieve? It achieved through a balance of organic and inorganic development and also through its mastery over the supply chain. It was design thinking which lived its customer experiences, but also the supply chain capability that translated the customer demands into cost effective products with high quality. Promotion was essentially in terms of direct relationships with the customers and frequent customer visits. It still continues to be an Indian private limited company, although its coverage has been global. Design thinking and customer satisfaction have been at the core of Gross Engineering Products' success. Notion Press started in 2012 essentially because one of the founders experienced deep problems in publishing his own work. That problem gave the idea of having a self publishing medium as a startup. It is for the budding authors and writers to publish their works after due editing and due consideration. It has now evolved into a leading self publishing house. It brings out the works of thousands of authors from India and other parts of the world. Is a service company. Self publishing of books is the main offering. Budding and established writers and authors come to Notion Press for their works. It adopts multi-tier pricing in terms of different layers of packaging for different grades of writers, from amateur writers to fully accomplished writers. Promotion has been intensively through digital social media. It continues to be an Indian private limited company funded by the family, internal generation, founders, as well as the private equity investors. Notion Press is a successful startup that caught the writer's fancy, so to say, with its concept and digital publishing execution. Pharmaceutical industry was known for its highly complex distribution mechanism. If the MRP was 300, it had to be supported by a 100 rupee manufacturing price, or if the manufacturing price was rupees 100, the MRP was so high as 300 rupees. The trade took the huge margin. So it was a space which was waiting to be captured. However, the requirement that every pharmaceutical dispensing has to be based on a prescription was one of the biggest hurdle apart from the power of the distribution system. However, with the growth of internet and the telecommunication network, the space was ripe for disruption. 1mg was one of the few pharmaceutical online pharmacies that came up in the last 7 to 8 years. It was established in 2015 to disintermediate the supply of medicines to patients through digital technology. 1NG grew rapidly to become a successful online pharmacy. Now it's also into diagnostic services and online medical consultations. It also has the ability to offer laboratory services. It has become a Tata Group company, but it continues as though it is still operating as a startup. It has been supported by various business strategies, marketing strategies, deep pockets provided by the investors, and quick execution, because unlike any other product, medicines have to be delivered on time. Delivering medicines after 2 days or 3 days is unacceptable, and also the integrity of packaging is extremely important. And that requires good warehousing, good relationships with the chemists and distributors, and also to attract the customers to the online space, the willingness and the ability to provide deep discounts. And that is possible because, as I said, there was a significant margin between the manufacturing cost and the maximum retail price that is offered. The skill in forging relationships with the distributors and chemists and a dynamic digital platform continue to drive 1MG success, even as a part of the Tata empire. Zomato is a food delivery company. It started its life in 2008 as a food and review entity. However, Zomato's founders saw the potential for food delivery and established the company as a leading food supply company operating all over India. Its technology platform has been its USP. As we all know, food delivery companies saw their high mark during the COVID period when people preferred to stay indoors and hotels operated just as restaurants, and they were the principal medium for meeting the culinary requirements and the food needs of the vast population. Zomato was ready with its digital platform to be able to meet this huge gap that arose during the COVID time, and therefore there has been no looking back thereafter. Discounted pricing has been the mainstay of the company. Digital and social media and print promotion have provided enough bandwidth in the marketplace for Zomato. Apart from this, the kind of t-shirts the delivery people wear, the bags that they deploy also provided high visibility in the marketplace. It is a very successful Indian startup. It is now a publicly limited company. However, it has also faced backlash for not running its operations on prudential business parameters. The continuance of loss making has led to the stock going below the list price even after its successful listing and scale up thereafter. So, it is also a lesson for the startups to conduct their business development in such a manner that while seeking strong market presence in the shortest frame of time, they also must focus on prudential methods of business development. Typically, companies use long term funds for short term requirements in the startup era because they are not so sure of running the operations based on bank credit as per the proper working capital principles. However, this is a position to which startups must move because India is not an economy where huge resources can be wasted in terms of buying market share through price discounts and therefore through capital infusions. And also, if this trend continues, there could be many startups who may not see the long light of the day. They may be successful in the short term, but in the long term, they may find it difficult to run. With funding winter setting in this startup space, it is time for companies to tighten their business development approach and become more like mainstream companies, wherein every product generates revenue and profit. However, coming back to the success of Zomato, ability to develop a pan-India delivery force and forge relationships with hotels and restaurants drove Zomato's success. We now come back to the template that we have used throughout. The template covered six basic drivers of business development: product or service, customer, pricing, promotion, ownership, and the marketplace. We have also seen that these six have to be supported by strategies in the domains of business, marketing, finance, and operations. When these 10 factors operate together, both strategically and tactically, business development can be near perfect by companies. Each of the components may vary depending upon the nature of the industry and the company. However, there is no denying the fact that these 10 have to be kept in mind for a company to pursue its development of business in a strong manner. Thank you. I look forward to being with you again in the next week's lectures.